Alright, Marvel fans, let's talk about Nomad. This character has been around for a while in the Marvel Universe and has had some pretty epic storylines. From what we know, Nomad is a mysterious and complex character who has been both a hero and an anti-hero at different times. Let's start by getting some background information. The term Nomad means a member of a people who have no permanent home. This description suited Steve Rogers perfectly as he officially became a man without a country and a man without a home. While adopting the identity of Nomad, Cap joined forces with Submariner to take on Madame Hydra and her destructive Serpent Society. It turns out that Madame Hydra and her Atlantean ally Krang were attempting to harness the power of the ancient Serpent Crown. In their epic battle, Nomad inadvertently stumbled over his cape but quickly recovered. Luckily, this comedic moment didn't distract Cap from his significant costume change. Oh man, it's a bummer that all good things must come to an end. So in Captain America number 184, Steve Rogers decided to ditch the Nomad name after a pretty intense showdown with the Red Skull. Turns out, Steve realized he could still be a symbol of America's ideals without blindly following its sketchy government. In the Marvel comic book world, there have been a few characters who've rocked the Nomad title. Take Ronin for example. Alongside Steve Rogers, others like Bucky Barnes, Jack Monroe, and Ricky Barnes have taken on this identity at different times. Bucky Barnes was Captain America's former sidekick who went rogue after being brainwashed by Soviet agents. He turned into a killer but eventually found his way back and occasionally slipped back into the Nomad persona. Then there's Jack Monroe, a dude inspired by Captain America who got fed up with the government's shenanigans and became Nomad. He took matters into his own hands as a vigilante fighting crime and corruption. Lastly, we have Ricky Barnes, Bucky Barnes' daughter. When she discovered the government's connection to her dad's death, she wasn't having it. Ricky adopted the Nomad mantle and became an expert assassin who gave big headaches to those guys in charge. So yeah, lots of folks stepping up as Nomads in the Marvel Universe. So like in the MCU, Steve Rogers retired happily at the end of Avengers Endgame to marry Peggy Carter, who he loves and stuff. We all knew that was gonna happen because Chris Evans' contract was up. The other option would have been death, but Tony Stark got that honor instead. But Marvel always likes to surprise fans, you know? So now we're expecting them to bring back Captain America in some way. But before that happens, Captain America had to return the Infinity Stones and Mjolnir to where they belong in the multiverse. And apparently, Marvel's upcoming movie No Way Home might tell the story of this new version of Captain America called Nomad. We'll find out who Nomad is next year. Oh yeah, and just so you know, in the main reality, Sam Wilson is taking over as Captain America since Steve Rogers is gone now. They're both sharing the mantle in their own comic series too, if you've been keeping up with that. Guess what? Not only is Steve Rogers' Captain America making a comeback in Marvel's Nomad, but Scarlett Johansson's Nat will also be joining the party. And guess what else? Both actors will even be producing the series. Get ready for some time travel and multiversal elements because these both will be making an appearance in Nomad. But here's the real kicker. Tony Stark is coming back too, but as a multiversal variant. This could possibly be our first glimpse of an Iron Man multiversal variant before Secret Wars. How exciting is that? So there have been a bunch of rumors going around since 2019 about how Marvel might bring back these two characters in the MCU. It doesn't matter if Steve's old or Tony's dead because there are ways they could make it work. Marvel could do prequels or multiverse movies with these characters without messing with what happened in Endgame. This movie is actually a super secret MCU movie that brings back Chris Evans to the Marvel Universe. We mean, it totally makes sense, right? Endgame had that whole dance scene between Steve and Peggy, a moment we've been waiting for forever. And just like that, Marvel wrapped up Steve's Captain America story without even killing him off. So maybe Nomad is gonna continue where Rogers left off and show us what he got up to after he went to a different reality and married Peggy. Pretty wild stuff. So the dance caused a lot of debate among Marvel fans, like what reality did Captain America end up in? The official version is that he went back in time to a different reality and created a whole new branch of Earth's 616th timeline. And then Loki comes in and throws us for another loop. How the heck did Steve Rogers marry Peggy without the TVA stepping in? One theory is that maybe the TVA did get involved, but Rogers waited until Sylvie took out the Kang variant dude before tying the knot. Or maybe he made some kind of deal with Kang himself? Who knows? Now, buckle up because this is where things start to get really exciting. So, you know how Steve Rogers completed his final mission at the end of that epic film, Endgame? He returned all those precious stones and Thor's hammer to their rightful places so that none of those realities would be messed with. But imagine if he had encountered a Kang variant who asked for one more favor from Captain America. I'm talking about joining the Avengers of Earth 616 future in order to take down the most dangerous Kang variant out there. And guess what? This is the key to Steve Rogers' Captain America making an appearance in Secret Wars. Why would Chris Evans be perfect for the role of Nomad? It's a question worth exploring. In the Marvel comics, Nomad is Captain America's alter ego that he assumes after giving up his shield. It's been done by other characters in the MCU as well, but based on what we know, it feels like a Chris Evans kind of movie. Here are a few possibilities for how Nomad could fit into the MCU. It could be a prequel that shows us what Evans' character has been up to between Civil War and Infinity War. This story might be important for the upcoming multiverse saga. Another option is to explore Steve Rogers' life in an alternate reality, where he married Peggy Carter. In this reality, there would still be a Captain America who takes up the mantle eventually. Maybe Steve used a different name to avoid drawing attention to himself. Lastly, Nomad could be a version of Cap from another dimension that we'll need in Secret Wars. This would allow Chris Evans to return without undermining Steve Rogers' incredible journey in Endgame. No matter which direction they take, one thing is clear. Only Chris Evans can bring Nomad to life in a way that honors both the character and his own legacy as Captain America. There's really no point in introducing other characters who have taken on this persona in the comics when we have someone as iconic as Evans available to play the role. If Nomad does make an appearance in the MCU, we bet they'll portray him as a disillusioned hero who doesn't trust the government anymore. He could be a real asset to other heroes fighting for justice, but he might also pose a threat to those wanting things to stay the same old way. We don't have all the details yet, but there's something big coming. The script and cast are being kept a secret for now, but filming is set to start in early 2024. What we do know is that this project involves Captain America returning the Infinity Stones to their rightful places in time. It's going to be one heck of an adventure. Oh, and get this, the Nomad series might actually be released before Avengers Secret Wars on Disney+. That means we'll get to see the first multiversal variant of Iron Man in action. How cool is that? Stay tuned for more updates. They also want to bring in some new photography directors to shake things up and give the Marvel Cinematic Universe a fresh look. Kind of like how they're bringing in HBO visionaries for reshoots on Secret Invasion because they've got a great eye for cinematography. And hey, if it works out, they might just stick with this new style for future projects. The plan is to take things a bit more seriously and maturely, with fewer jokes and less childishness. They're really eager to experiment with these different styles, you know. If people dig it, they might even start using them in upcoming MCU shows and movies. Fingers crossed. So there you have it, a quick rundown of everything we know about Nomad. Keep your eyes peeled for any updates because you never know what Marvel has up their sleeves. But remember to subscribe to our channel to get the latest updates.